This is your USMNT Abroad.
Wait, hold on.
Hold your horses right there. This is not the USMNT Abroad weekend recap. That'll be on Monday. That series will be back next week. Everyone's favorite. This is a USMNT Abroad teaser for this season. Hello. If you're new here, I'm Filippo, and welcome to Tactical Manager TV. And today we have 7 US men's national team players in Europe that you must follow this season. Now, obviously, I'm going to follow all of them, or most of them, but these 7 have some very interesting storylines that I just want to talk about. And you may be wondering, why did you pick 7? Why didn't you pick 5 or 8, 10? I mean, there's like a lot of players abroad. I'm just a big 7-Eleven guy. I love 7-Eleven. To me, it's the second best gas station franchise in the United States, only behind Bucky. And about the USMNT Abroad series that'll be back on Monday, we're going to change it up a little bit, change it for the best. It's going to be much more entertaining, much more cohesive. It's going to be a great episode. We're going to restart that series on Monday, so make sure you have the notification bell and you're tuned in for that. And that's all. We can start this episode right now, right after you smash the like button, and you let me know in the comment section down below which US men's national team players abroad are you the most interested in this season. Give me like 3. You don't have to go through 7. 7 is my thing. You can just give me 3. But of course, after you hit the like button. Thank you very much. Let's roll the intro and start the episode. Okay, the first player that I want to talk about is Xavier Gozo. So last year, to me, he was okay with RSL. He didn't really do well, actually, in the U20 World Cup, but this season, he actually had a breakout season while playing for Real Salt Lake in Major League Soccer. Ultimately, this summer, he got a $15 million move to Crystal Palace in the English Premier League. Now, for the first game, he played with their U21s because he's probably getting back in shape. He hasn't played a game since July. That is fine. What I'm interested here is, will he progress? Will his minutes progress as the season goes on? Because Crystal Palace is a very good team, right? They're at least a mid-table side in the Premier League, even though based on their first game this season, maybe they'll struggle. Maybe there'll be a relegation battle. I don't think so. I think they'll be all right. Chris Richards is also already there, one American. I am fascinated to see, I am looking forward to seeing how Xavier Gozo will do. If by the end of the season, he can start locking in 20, 30 minutes off the bench, I will call it a success. I don't expect him to be a starter. They play in a 3-4-2-1, so maybe he'll play as one of those attacking midfielders, second striker role. Maybe he'll play as a wingback, even though he's not going to start on the right wingback position over Munoz. But players get injured. Things happen. Sometimes the team needs to go look at their bench or the backups to play guys. That can happen. Now, I think that he is not ready for the Premier League right now, at least not to have an actual impact on the game right away. So as I said, as long as Xavier Gozo can start to get meaningful minutes by the end of the season, I have like 0 expectations in the first half. So if anything happens there, I'll be extremely happy. But for the second half of the season, which is 6 months from now, if he can start getting 20, 30 minutes off the bench, I would call it a success. And this is a player that, to me, he's still a bit of an enigma. I still find him very one-dimensional, but he's very technical. He's very good at finishing. He can give you goals. He's very athletic, and he can beat you 1v1, even though he is very one-dimensional, in my opinion. I see him, I don't know if people agree with me on this one, I see Xavier Gozo as like a Tim Weah-like player. That's how I see. But we'll see. We'll be following along his time in the Premier League with Crystal Palace and rooting for the guy and hoping he gets minutes at some point this season. Now, what's my prediction? I don't know. We'll see what happens. And player number 2 is Johnny Cardoso from Atletico Madrid. Now, let's go back a few years right here with Johnny. He was doing very well for Internacional. They made it to the Libertadores semifinals, didn't really win a trophy there, and ultimately he got a move to Real Betis because he was playing very well. He went on to play for Real Betis, did very well for them, which ultimately got him the move to Atletico Madrid. And then last season with Atletico Madrid, Johnny had ups and downs. He was injured quite a bit, and he never really became a locked-in starter for them. So what I'm interested in seeing with Johnny Cardoso this season, it's essentially 2 things. 1, can he lock in that starting spot for Atletico Madrid? Obviously, I want the club form to translate to national team form, but right now we're talking about his season with Atletico, right? Not the US men's national team specifically. I want him to play well for the US, but right now we're talking about club, okay? So 1, I want him to become a uncontested, like undoubtedly the starter for Atletico Madrid. Like, no one even questions it. That's one thing I want to see this season, okay? For Johnny, he didn't start the first game. He's still coming back from that ankle surgery that he had over the summer that kept him out of the World Cup. The other thing that I want to see is for Johnny to actually win a trophy. Because Atletico Madrid made it to the final of the Copa del Rey last season, and they lost in the final to Real Sociedad. That was coached by Pellegrino Materazzo. They also made it to the semifinals of the Champions League. So no trophy. So I want him to become a starter and win a trophy. Now, what are the odds of him winning a trophy? And I checked on Cauchy, right? Because the thing with Cauchy is they're not playing or putting their money against the house. People are putting their money against people. So the odds on Cauchy, they actually show what people think. And right now, at the time of this recording, there's a 3% chance that Atletico Madrid wins La Liga. Obviously, Barcelona and Real Madrid being the dominant forces. And, I mean, the way the players that Real Madrid and Barcelona signed over the summer, Real Madrid signed Cucurella, Ian Diamande, they still have Vinicius, they kept Vinicius, they have Kylian Mbappe, Rodrigo will be back. And then you have Barcelona that signed Rodri, and they're still signing players, Anthony Gordon as well. I don't see those two teams losing La Liga, any of them. One of them will win it. Right? You can't have two winners. So 3% for Atletico Madrid is probably fair. Now, the Copa del Rey, they have higher odds. It's at 8%. So it's also not very high. Barcelona and Real Madrid are obviously the favorites. And considering the fact that Barcelona and Real Madrid didn't win La Liga last season, not La Liga, the Copa del Rey, I think it's fair to say they might focus on it to try to get that trophy, right? It's technically the easiest trophy for them. Easier than La Liga and definitely easier than the Champions League. And those are the odds on Cauchy. Thank you very much, Cauchy, for sponsoring this video. And if you want to play on Cauchy, you can use the link in the description of this video or our promo code TACTICAL. New users get $25 after they play $25. That's with the code TACTICAL or the link in the description of this video. Thank you very much, Cauchy. And you know what I just noticed? It's easier to win a trophy with the U.S. men's national team, right? Believe it or not, than certain clubs like Atletico Madrid or Tottenham. Player number 3 is Mathis Albert, the 17-year-old American winger that plays for Borussia Dortmund. And this one is not a similar club situation to Xavier Gozo because Xavier Gozo just arrived. Mathis Albert was playing essentially in the Dortmund academy or youth teams, and he's been promoted. He made his debut last season, right? Mathis Albert. But I guess the expectation is similar. I just want Mathis Albert's minutes this season to creep up. And I'm very interested to see if he will actually get meaningful minutes for Dortmund at some point. I think more towards the second half of the season. And if he can actually make an impact, right? If Mathis Albert can actually be a productive player in the Bundesliga at any point this season, even if it's towards the end, I would love to see him play in the Gold Cup for the U.S. men's national team next summer. But I want to see how he does with Dortmund, right? If he's just riding the bench and playing like 2 minutes every like 4 games, then it's irrelevant at that point. He's very talented, but he needs to get minutes. So I'm very interested to see how Mathis Albert's season will play out. I think he'll get minutes here and there in the first semester of the season, all the way till December. What I'm hoping for is that at the second half of the season, right, when we get to the second half, he starts to get 20, 30 minutes off the bench, maybe starts a DFB Pokal game here in the first half of the season. I just want to see how many minutes Mathis Albert will get this season, and when he plays, if he looks like he belongs, if he looks like an actual Bundesliga prospect. Because I'll tell you this, alongside Kevin Sullivan and Adri Mehmeti, this is one of our top prospects. He has the highest ceiling with all of them, right? With those ones that I mentioned, Kevin Sullivan and Mehmeti, right? That plays for the New York Red Bull. So I hope he actually gets minutes. Will he? Only time will tell. Player number 4 is a guy that simply never quits. This guy doesn't quit, and he's very loyal. He's very, very loyal. I don't know if he's dating someone. I don't know if he's married. If he's not, and you're single right there, you should go for him because this guy is one of the most loyal players I've seen in my life. His name is Gianluca Busio. He's gotten relegated twice with Venezia, and he stayed there, and he helped them get promoted twice. And this season, he's their captain. They're back in the Serie A. Busio's not very old. What is he, like 24? In the first game, even though Venezia lost, he looked quite good. I'm actually going to be following Venezia quite close. They have beautiful uniforms, as always. Their kits are wonderful. And Gianluca Busio's looking sharp, more aggressive, more physical. He's very technical, has a good long shot. He used to be decent to good on set pieces. I am very interested on how Busio will do, because I always thought he was a better player than, for example, Aiden Morris. and Sebastian Berhalter. Even when he played in MLS at age 18, to me, he looked better than these players in MLS when they played later on, right? Aiden Morris and Berhalter. So if Busio is actually playing well in the Serie A, one, he should be tested in the U.S. national team once again. And if Venezia gets relegated this time, he needs to find a new club in a top 5 league. So Busio is a player that you should 100% be keeping track of this season, watching him and seeing how he does in the Italian Serie A. And maybe you should also buy a Venezia jersey. I might do it. They're kind of pricey. Every soccer jersey is very pricey these days, but I might have to get it. Or Busio, if you're watching this, just send me a jersey. Do you have my address? No? I don't know. DM me on Instagram. Just send me a jersey. I would love to have a Venezia jersey if someone can give it to me. It's very pricey. And even though I'm taller, I'm very tall. I'm a very tall guy and better looking than Tom Cruise. And I'm also better looking than Tom Hanks and equally as good looking as Johnny Depp. I don't have anywhere near as much money as those guys. And also, no one ever pooped on my bed. Thank God. Thank God. That's probably for the best. Okay, player number 5. That is Gio Reyna from Strasbourg in France. So Gio didn't really play much for Dortmund. He got a move last summer to Borussia Mönchengladbach, the other Dortmund. Or sorry, the Borussia that's not from Dortmund, the one from Gladbach. And he also didn't play much in the Bundesliga. And then he got this move to Strasbourg, which I don't think I talked about it on YouTube. I don't like this move, if I'm being completely honest. Not because of the club. I think the club on its own is a good club to develop young talent, to actually give opportunity to players that need minutes. That is fine. The problem is, by every single metric, the French league, I swear, by every single metric, it's one of the most, if not the most physical league in the world. Fast-paced, intense, just like the Premier League. It's not the same quality as the Premier League, but it's intense. And we saw Gio Reyna in the Premier League. It didn't really go well when he played for Nottingham Forest, regardless of the situation. I don't think the French league is a good league for Gio. He's more of a technical player. Control the tempo, slow down the game, like the clubs or the players in Italy, Spain, right? Those would be the ideal leagues for Gio Reyna, maybe the Eredivisie, but he went to France. And this is my problem with it. I think this is Gio's last chance in Europe. I'm just being honest with you. If he flops at Strasbourg, this is his last chance. Very likely, the next stop for Gio Reyna, if this move doesn't work out, if he doesn't have a good season, is Major League Soccer. So next summer, okay, I'm very intrigued, and I want to see what's going to happen to Gio this season. If Gio doesn't perform, I would think that he will be back in MLS next summer. Now, if he does perform, good for him. He'll stay in a top 5 league, which is honestly his level when it comes to his talent. But if he does not perform this season, he will very likely be back in MLS next year. Player number 6, we have 2 more to go, and hopefully by now you have already dropped a like in this video. So player number 6 is Malik Tillman from Bayer Leverkusen. Malik Tillman was arguably our best player in the 2026 World Cup for the United States. He was simply incredible. And he was coming off a pretty bad season for Bayer Leverkusen. They paid a lot of money for him. I think it was like 40 million euros, and he was the Florian Wirtz replacement, and he didn't do well. And then he came back from the World Cup talking crap about the previous coach, about the club. He was talking a lot of crap, which I kind of like, as long as you can back it. And that's what I'm interested in this season. Can Malik Tillman back all the talk that he had like right before the season started with Leverkusen? Can he play for Leverkusen at the same level he played for the United States in the World Cup? Tillman usually takes some time to get things going for a club. We saw that with Rangers. We saw that with PSV. But the talent is there. So what I want to see from Malik Tillman this season is I want to see a 20-goal contribution season. So like 10 goals, 10 assists, or maybe like 7 goals and 13 assists, something like that. I want to see him get an incredible season with Leverkusen, all right, to shut up all the haters and prove that he can perform at a high level in the Bundesliga, which so far he has not shown us that. It's time to perform. All right, player number 7. And this player, I was actually kind of reluctant to add him. And no, it's not Christian Pulisic. I wish Christian Pulisic the best, but I'm not very interested on his season, right? I will be watching Christian Pulisic. I'll be keeping track of Christian Pulisic, and I hope he does well. I hope he bounces back, but I'm just not very interested right now on Christian Pulisic. So player number 7 is Balogun. The reason I am reluctant to add him to this video is because at the time of this recording, there are many reports that he is leaving Monaco for like 50 to 60 million euros. To what club? We don't know. That's the problem. I don't know where Balogun will go while I'm recording this. Maybe by the time this video is out, the news has come out and we know where Balogun's going to go. There are rumors that he would go to Barcelona. There were rumors that he would go to the Premier League, right? They talked about Aston Villa and many other clubs. I don't know where Balogun will play. Regardless, that doesn't really impact my thoughts on this video. Balogun had an incredible season with Rons, whatever the hell the name of that club was, where he had like 20 plus goals in Liga. Then he got to move to Monaco. The first season with Monaco wasn't good. Last season, the second half of the season with Monaco, he was incredible. In the World Cup, he was also incredible. And he's earned this move. What I want from Balogun is consistency. It's time for him to have back-to-back good seasons, regardless of where he's playing. I actually think Balogun will do very well in the Premier League. The French league is very physical, and he'll be ready for that. And he knows how to play English football, right? In English soccer, that's where he was developed. So Balogun's a player that I'll be following very closely this season, regardless of where he's playing, even if he stays with Monaco. And what do I want to see from Balogun? Even if it's the Premier League, it doesn't matter where he's playing. I want at least a 20-goal contribution season. More on the goal side, right? Like 15 goals, 5 assists, something like that. That's what I want, and that's what I expect from Balogun, and that's what we should all expect from Balogun. Again, regardless of where he goes, regardless of where he plays. I don't care if it's Aston Villa, Monaco, Barcelona. It doesn't matter to me. 20-goal contributions. I mean, if he leaves Monaco, someone's going to pay like 50 to 60 million euros, so he better be scoring goals. All right, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like before you go in this video. Thank you very much, Kaushi, for sponsoring this video. And that's all for today. On Monday, we have the USMNT Abroad weekend recap. Again, it's going to be a little bit different from how we had it in the last, 4 to 5 years, but it's going to be better. You're going to love it, okay? Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and have a great day. I'll see you guys on Monday.